What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Honkai Star Roll video. Before we get into the video though, I do have a small request. I'm going to record this Should You Summon Kafka video in this format, and then on my Should You Summon Black Swan video, which should be up roughly like 8, 9, 10-ish hours after this one, is going to be not heavily edited, but it's going to have gameplay, and then when I talk about the skill, it's going to pop up on the screen, that kind of deal, right? Let me know which one you prefer, and that one will be the one that we do for the Should You Summon a Robin video. Not a lot of time, but I want to see which one you guys enjoy most. Yeah, the editing one obviously takes a bit more time, but it shouldn't be anything too crazy once I'm just used to it overall. So it's whatever you guys prefer. Let me know in the comments. Very important. Anyway, let's jump into it. So Kafka is a 5-star Nihility Electro unit, or Lightning unit, whatever you call it, right? Electro, Genshin stuff. You get it by now, right? Hoyoverse that likes to name all their elements different stuff. But regardless, she is a Nihility dot unit. The difference between a normal Nihility unit and a dot unit is they like to be a little funny. Most Nihility units are debuffers. Kafka still is a debuffer, but she leans towards dot damage, which is stuff like Wind Shear, Bleed, Burn, all that good stuff, right? While other Nihility characters, such as someone like Pela, is just lowering defenses or lowering other stats. So there's kind of a difference, but they're all lumped into it, Nihility, right? Kafka's skills are the basic attack is the basic old basic attack, right? Her skill deals lightning damage equal to 160 of Kafka's attack to a target enemy, and lightning damage equal to 6% of her attack to adjacent enemies. This is a blast skill. If the target enemy is currently receiving dot, all dots currently placed on the enemy immediately produce damage equal to 75% of the original damage. Means the more dots you have on the enemy, more damage you'll do. That's why you want to run different dot characters like Sampo, Guanifin, Black Swan, Luca, Serval, Asta. I'm not going to name them all because I'm going to forget who actually supplies dot naturally, but you get the gist, right? Dot characters. Then the ultimate deals lightning damage equal to 80% of Kafka's attack to all enemies, with a 100% base chance for enemies hit to become shocked and immediately take damage from their current shock state, equal to 100% of its original damage. Shock lasts for 2 turns, while shocked enemies receive lightning dot equal to 90 of her attack at the beginning of each turn. Now, keep in mind, one of her traces, spoiler, it makes it to where it's all dot, so it's very similar to her skill. Very nice. It's really funny how you read this, you're like, oh, that sucks that the skill does all dot, but the ultimate doesn't, and then down here, it's like, yeah, guess what? It's all dot. Very funny, but regardless, her talent, after an ally of Kafka's uses a basic attack on an enemy target, Kafka immediately launches a follow-up attack and deals lightning damage equal to 140 of her attack to that target, with a 100% base chance to inflict shock equivalent to that applied by her ultimate to the attacked enemy target lasting for 2 turns. This effect can only be triggered once per turn. One per turn, jeez. Pretty much, big W, her ultimate, you know, the biggest shock. Very cool. This attack actually does a decent amount of damage as well, and it also is funny how it's 140, which is, you know, well, not it's not gonna do more damage than the ult, obviously, but it's funny how this one's only 80% while the skill's 160 and 140 for like the initial attack. But I mean, hey, she's a dot unit, so she doesn't really need to be hitting like a million damage on her actual attack when she just wants more dot to actually do more damage from the dots proccing. Right? Then her technique immediately attacks all enemies within a set range. This range is fucking massive, bro. Like, it's not going to be beating something like, I don't think it's bigger than Firefly AoE. I'd have to double check. It might be just as big, actually, now I'm thinking about it, but I think Firefly is a bit bigger, but it's pretty damn big. It's pretty damn big. If they're anywhere near you, you're hitting them with this. After entering battle, deals lightning damage equal to 50% of her attack to all enemies, with a 100% base chance to inflict shock equivalent to that applied by her ultimate on every enemy target for 2 turns. Then her bonus traces are the base chance for targets enemies to be shocked by the ultimate, technique, or talent increases by 30%. Then if an enemy is shocked, enemy is defeated while shocked, Kafka immediately generates 5 energy. If this was just get shocked with 5 energy, I'd be like, yo, what the hell, they need to nerf her. But yeah, sorry, it's defeated. Then her bonus stats are 20% attack, 18% effect hit rate, and 10% HP. Then her Eidolons, well, I don't recommend going for dupes ever because it's kind of hard if you don't spend money, and I never really recommend spending money on gacha games unless it's some of the less expensive packs. These are her dupes. First dupe is when the talent triggers a follow-up attack, there's a 100% base chance to increase the dot received by the target by 30% for 2 turns. Then her second dupe is while on the field, while Kafka's on the field, dot dealt by all allies increases by 25%. And the fourth dupe is when an enemy target takes damage from the shock states inflicted by Kafka. Kafka regenerates 2 energy. And then, last but not least, the last dupe is the shock inflicted on the enemy target by the ultimate, the technique, or the talent. Followed has damage multiplier increased by 156 and lasts for 1 turn longer. Pretty much just more damage, more energy, more dot help, and more dot help. What I recommend is getting E2. I actually have E1 and it's very nice. I might try to grab E2 this time around, which is funny because I don't have E1 Robin and I actually don't have Topaz, but I really like dot, and this one is just a huge buff for dot. It's just 25% for dot, right? Overall, Kafka still is an incredible dot support even without dupes, so you really don't have to worry about it. She works with every type of dot thanks to her skill and her ultimate slash bonus trace helping her out, which the third one, I'll read it real quick, is just when the ultimate is used, enemy targets will now receive damage immediately from all currently applied dot sources instead of just shock. Like I said, it pretty much just makes this ultimate just say deals lightning damage, yada yada, for enemies to become shocked and really take damage from their current dot state equal to 100% of the original damage. Shock lasts for 2 turns. While shocked enemies receive lightning dot equal to yada yada yada, that kind of stuff, right? It's just this part right here, current shock state is current dot state. I guess you could word it like that, right? Overall, though, Kafka can actually hit pretty damn hard if you get a good amount of dot stacks on the enemy, and her skill can hit pretty hard too because it also scales off of the dot, which is really nice because it would suck. I think Kafka would be a lot less useful if her skill didn't also go off of the enemy dot and just went off a shock, because the skill has done a juicy amount of damage for me at least, right? And having all of her damage on just her ult would be unfortunate, but luckily they thought ahead. Even the talent is super useful. I've actually taken out a couple enemies with that as well. It's not going to be hitting like a whole like Acheron ult or anything like that, but it does do a little bit of damage, which can save you. Plus, it also generates energy for Kafka. So if you're just shy of getting an ultimate, the normal attack can help out a lot. And every team uses normal attacks. You are going to get this off. Normally, it's from Ho-Ho's basic attack because she's the healer you would run with Kafka because she boosts energy and attack, and dot units scale off attack. But you can proc it with like Black Swan and everybody. Like there's so many characters that you can proc this with. It's insane. You're not going to always be using skill. In terms of team composition, she doesn't really have a lot. I'm not going to lie. These right here are kind of the 3 teams I use her on. You can use her with other characters, obviously, but Black Swan is representing dot. I should probably put this right here. Dot. And then I'm just going to put 2N because 2 Nihility characters for Acheron, and then just debuff. That's not how you spell debuff. There we go. Pretty much what you'd use her for is her dot synergy would synergize with other dot characters. Obviously, that's her main team and her main use. Then with Acheron, funny enough, you run these 3, at least from what I've seen. Acheron is just another dot character. You could run a ton of other characters, but a lot of people like Kafka, and you can get away with running a semi-dot, semi-Acheron team, since some people like to run the 2 Nihility over the support. More power to them, right? You can still get good clears with that team. So they pretty much run a hybrid like Kafka's dot team, and then Acheron's just taking advantage of being there. Kind of like how you'd have Jinglu teams with Blade, and Blade would just take advantage of the HP, but your team is still centered around Jinglu. And then last but probably least is just getting debuffs, because Kafka applies shock to the enemy, which counts as a debuff for ratio. So if you have a character who needs to have debuffs on the enemy, Kafka works for that, and she can easily apply it because she applies it with her skill, she applies it with her ultimate, applies it with her fucking talents follow-up, which is just, you get it every time Kafka attacks. So if you are fighting an enemy and they're not shocked when you have Kafka, you would have to be doing some crazy tech to just not get that shock off. So she also works with debuffs. Obviously, there's better debuffs like Pela, who would lower defense, or heck, Black Swan, who would lower defense, which would give you some better damage. But if she's like your only option, or you just want to use her, she can work. Overall, Kafka doesn't have a ton of teams, unfortunately. I wish she did, because I would love to use her more, but it's pretty much just you want to use her with Acheron or Black Swan at the moment. Well, not Black Swan, Dot, but I mean, Black Swan is kind of her best friend at the moment. Hopefully, they release more Dot characters in the future so Kafka's utility goes up a bit more. Her use will go up a bit more, and how hard she can hit could probably go up. I'm thinking if we get another Dot character, that would probably unfortunately replace Black Swan, or we get a Dot support, or maybe a Dot healer. A healer that could just apply Dot pretty much at that standard, or a support that boosts Dot damage from everybody. Pretty much Kafka's kit somewhat in a support character. I feel like that could help out Dot, but at this point, I'll take whatever, bro. I'll take whatever. They haven't released a Dot character says Black Swan, and she's rerunning, so that should say enough. But other than that, that's it for the video. Let me know what you thought of the video. Should you summon, though? Main question. Yes, if you see yourself using Dot teams, right? Which is characters like Sampo, Gwenaifen, Luca, Black Swan. If you are fans of those characters or like the Dot playstyle, 100% you gotta pick up Kafka. She is incredibly good. If not, easy skip. Easy skip. She has no other use that another character isn't going to be outperforming or outshining her in. It's pretty much just not. While you can use her with Acheron and like Ratio and stuff like that, there's just way better characters who are 4 stars that do the job, aka Pela, so you don't need them. Other than that, that's pretty much it for the video. Let me know if you're going to summon or not, and let me know if you enjoyed this video versus the Black Swan one, if you did watch it. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.